All right. Welcome everybody to what is it? The 200, sugar. Let's see. I'm going to have to move this out of the way. Here we go. There we go. 217th edition of Speaking of Zane on this December the 11th of 2022. How about that? Let me get myself centered a little bit better here on the camera. There we go. There we go, right there, dude. Well, good. Let's see who all we got in here this evening. We got a lot to talk about. Got Daryl in there. Hey, Daryl. Got my Aunt Mary. Hey, Aunt Mary. How's your grandson doing tonight? We had a little accident there. Katie Aaron's in there. Hey, Katie. Carl Q and Peggy are in there. Hey, Carl. How you doing, buddy? Good to have the crew in here. I know we'll have some more joining along the way. We often have folks join that they're kind of stealthy. They don't let us know they're there. And then we have a lot of people that watch the recording. We had a lot of people watch last week's recording, of course, because if you recall, we had our friend Ken Pesic as a guest. And Ken told the very fascinating story about his father's account of the morning of December 7th, 1941. That was just incredible. And I understand from Ken that he actually went on to share that story at least with one high school class during last week. So very cool indeed. I shared the recording, or when we do these on Sunday night, it goes to YouTube and gets stored in YouTube. And I shared the YouTube recording with a bunch of my colleagues at work, and of course shared it on the Facebook site. So I know a lot of people got to see that had not seen it in the past, and appreciate Ken giving us that account last week on Speaking of Zane. That was a fabulous story there, and Ken tells that story every year, and I think he'll be telling that story when he's 100 about his father's experience there at Pearl Harbor. So that was awesome for sure. Well, congratulations to Army for beating Navy yesterday in double overtime. I didn't watch much of the game. I was out and about doing some errands and stuff, but I know it was a double overtime, and Army came out on top this year. And I also saw today that Navy fired their coach. He's been the coach for 15 years, I believe, and they have asked him to move on. I guess the last two seasons, Navy has finished at 4-8, I believe. But anywho, congrats to Army, and a happy, very happy 6th birthday to our little granddaughter Zaylee, with a Z, Z for Zane. She's the daughter of our oldest son Tyler and Raina, and her name is Zaylee, and she's absolutely phenomenal. They live down in Savannah. And she is 6 years old. She was born like a week after her cousin Everett. Remember me shouting out Everett's birthday? Well, they were born within a week of each other-ish. But yeah, she's a special little girl. Well, let's see. What do we got going? I had a fabulous. This is one of those things that comes up kind of last minute. I had lunch today with my old Air Force buddy, Lanny Witt, who I just met for lunch a few weeks ago. Actually, he was over here and we had lunch. He lives over in Rainbow City, Alabama, near Gadsden. So not too far from here, a couple hour drive. And so we've seen each other quite a bit over the last years. But anyway, we have a mutual acquaintance, Tim Smith, old Air Force buddy of ours, Tim Smith, who's originally from Rome, Georgia, and his one of his daughters is going to college in Rome there, Shorter, I believe. And anyway, he was down to pick her up for the holidays and reached out and said, "Hey, y'all want to get together for lunch?" So Lanny and I met Tim there at one of our favorite little burger joints called Sam's in Rome, Georgia, just very close to the Russell Airport. But man, we had a fantastic time. We told a lot of stories, told a lot of lies, and it was awesome to get together with those guys. Go look at the Speaking of Zane Facebook page, or go look at my Facebook page, and you'll see I posted a picture of the three of us. Man, those guys are getting old. They're like old men. I don't know what the heck happened. Anyway, we had a really good time. It was awesome. Tim lives up in Maryland, but I think it sounds like he's got plans to, when he finally retires, to relocate back down to North Georgia. We'll see. But it was great to spend some time with him and Lanny. And let's see. Let me see what we got in the chat here. Okay. Hey, Ken. Ken, you're having connection problems there. Well, we got to see you back there in the chat. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I don't know that we'll ever get a really big one, right? It's all about money. But I know the current Army coach used to be at Georgia Southern. When Charlotte was at Georgia Southern, he ended up getting promoted. Basically that becomes a promotion when you go out of a Sun Belt league into the proper NCAA. But anyway, let's see. Daryl's got a thank you in the chat there. Okay, Daryl, I'll add that when I get to it. Oh, good question, Katie. Katie's asking you a question there, Ken, about your dad's story. What part has stuck out with you the most? That's a great question, Katie. Don't make cracks about it. Oh, man. I know, Daryl, you got us all beat by almost 20 years, I think. Something between 15 to 20 years. You got my colleagues, my generation, you've got us beat a little bit there. But anyway, Ken's responding to Katie there. Yeah, Ken says, probably when he was in the hangar that took that direct hit and was thrown in the air there. Oh, hey, Steve Shirley, how you doing, buddy? I was just talking about how Lanny Witt and I had lunch with Tim Smith today, and we had a really good time, told a lot of stories. A lot of lies. A lot of stories, and it was a good time. Oh, Ken, I learned this from my mother-in-law this last week, that her mother, my wife Lori's Nana, her brother was also a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was wounded, but he survived. And I don't know that Lori ever knew him. But anyway, how about that for having something similar in common there with Lori? Lori's uncle, or I guess it wouldn't have been Lori's uncle. It would have been Lori's grandfather's brother. Yeah. Whatever that is. But all right. Well, let's see. Happy birthday, Zaylee. Lunch with Lanny and Tim. Lori's Nana's brother. I have a cool story about, you guys may have seen me post about this, but when great uncle, was it great uncle? Yeah, that's right, Katie. Thank you. Charlotte was home. She was home for something back in August. Charlotte is our daughter that lives in Seattle. She's the one that went to the FBI Academy. Well, she was here in Georgia in August and spent a couple of weeks. And anyway, she and I would do afternoon walk together. And I pointed out, I can't remember if I had done this before or after. Anyway, there's a house at the end of the road here that I walk past every day. It's on the corner. And of course, when you walk, you see more things in more detail than when you drive in and out of the neighborhood. So anyway, I walk 3 miles a day and I walk by a lot of houses. Anyway, this one on the corner, back in August, I noticed. Now, by now, I know every house that has an American flag. When you're walking and either listening to a podcast or not even listening to anything for an hour, that's basically how long I walk for. If I do between 3 and 4 miles, it's right about an hour. You notice a lot of things, and I notice all the flags. I know every house has an American flag. Anyway, this one had an American flag. Good on them. But man, the thing was worn and tattered and wrapped around the pole and just looked terrible. And I can't remember when Charlotte was here if I had already done this or if I said I'm gonna do this. Well, that family, they live on the corner, and I had noticed like the month before, they had a yard sign, one of those yard signs when you have a baby. And welcome baby so and so, 9 pounds 12 ounces, whatever. I'm like, okay, they had a little baby. And so I got to thinking about it, and I walk past this house every day and every day. And I finally thought about it and said, I really would like to replace that flag, but I don't want to. How do you do that? How do you how do you approach somebody that has a tattered old, worn out, just sorry looking American flag? How do you go about that? And I don't know the people, so I couldn't. I wasn't going to bring it up in conversation because I don't know them. And I thought, well, I would just give them one. I'll give them one. I mean, and I thought about it. I'm like, well, how would I do that? How would I do that? And I said, well, I'll give them a congratulations card for the new baby, and I'll gift them an American flag. So I wrote a nice card and I made it anonymous. I didn't really want them to know who I was because I don't know them. And anyway, I made it anonymous. Hey, congrats! I saw you had a baby. Congratulations! I'm one of your neighbors. I also saw your flag was in a little disrepair. Just want to gift you this flag. And so I tried to make it like if I was going to receive it, how would I take it? Anyway, so one day on my walk, I walked past and I had the flag and the card, and I put them in their mailbox. And here I am, idealistic, thinking, okay, the next day I'm going to see the American flag waving. Well, days go by. I walk by there every single day. Sometimes I might walk by there twice. I walk by there. Days go by. Weeks go by. I'm thinking, then months go by, and I'm like, they're probably like, who is that jackwagon that thinks he's gonna, and I thought I might have embarrassed them or shamed them or offended them or something, and they never put the flag out. And well, lo and behold, this past week, I go walking past the house one day, and boom, brand new, bright American flag flying there just on their front porch, and I'm like, yes, they've took my American flag and they're flying it. So wow, that was amazing. And now I can't help but look at it when I go by. And that first time on the way back, I gave it a smart salute. But anyway, just a incredible little story there. But it makes me want to maybe do the same thing to some other neighbors and that whose flags aren't quite, well, I don't want my opinion to be the standard, but there are some that are really like torn. If it's torn and stuff, then it probably needs to be replaced. But anyway, I hope I didn't upset them or offend them in any way. And but anyway, I thought that was a fun story. But let's see what else we got going on. Speaking of flags, how about Wreaths Across America? Wreaths Across America is coming up next Saturday. I haven't looked at the weather. I'm kind of afraid to. We've had rain before. We've had freezing weather. We'll see what we get this year. This kind of year in Atlanta is kind of up in the air. But Daryl, my team at Jefferson Barracks, I found out today, I'm not saying go out of your way to connect with them or anything, but they've been assigned a section that they're going to be working in. They're going to be working in section TT, Tango. I don't know where that's at on the map, but that's where my team will be, Daryl, there in St. Louis. And hey, Steve, guess what? Your buddy Gary Fletcher is going to be in Georgia, and he's coming out to Georgia National Cemetery for Reach Across America next Saturday. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, guy, you going to be there?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be there." So I'm going to get to meet your buddy Gary. Of course, I know he has his father and an uncle, I believe, and there's 3 of his kinfolk there that I stop by and see regular. There, your buddy Gary Fletcher. So I look forward to meeting him. And then I've got quite a few more people have responded to me. Some of my work colleagues are going to be there, so that'll be great. And I know that the all of the semi tractor trailers with the wreaths left Maine today, and they are on their way across the country all the way. Well, they have, many of them have already left, but the official convoy of trucks have left. And there's a big, the main convoy that goes from Maine, where the wreaths are done, down to Arlington. That happens. There's all these stops along the way, and it culminates on the Washington Mall on Friday, and then Arlington on Saturday. And we've got I've got quite a few of my colleagues at work that will be going out to Arlington as well. So I'll be keeping track of them. Let's see. All right, so Reach Across America. And if any of you guys are planning to go, I know that Amy and some others are doing Omaha, and then of course Carl and Peggy are doing Arrow Rock in Missouri, and there'll be some others. I know a bunch of others, but don't wait till next Sunday night. Tell us about it. Post in the Speaking to Zane Facebook group. Post some pictures, and we'll get them all collected. But it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, Lori and I have some friends at our church in Savannah, Doug and Sherry Piper. Doug was an Army Ranger, actually was injured in Iraq, lost an eye in Iraq. But their son, Matthew, is now a soldier, and he's stationed in Hawaii, but he's not there at the moment. I have an idea where he's at, but nobody's supposed to know where he's at. But anyway, his mom asked, he's not going to be able to make it home this year, and his mom was asking if there's anybody who would be willing to send him a Christmas card. And if anybody wants to send a soldier a Christmas card, message me, let me know, and I'll give you the address. It's an APO address, of course. I already sent him one. But if anybody else, and I know some of you already have because you already reached out to me, but if anybody wants to send a Christmas card to a soldier, this particular soldier that is a son of a friend of ours, let me know, and I'll get I will get the address to you. Okay, well, let's see. Oh, Lori had an interesting, she wanted me to pass on that if anybody wants any of these law enforcement officer thin blue line thank you cards, if anybody wants any of these, let me know, and I'll send you an envelope of them. But and she also has some thank a veteran ones. I think they're like postcard size. Thank a veteran with the each emblem, each branch of the service. Well, she had an interesting thing today. I don't know the deal, but she gets the, and I'm reading her message here to me. She gets these cards from a place online called Zazzle. You guys may have heard of it, Zazzle. And she said she sent an order in to get these veterans, thank a veteran cards done, and they refused. She said they refused. She said they stated that they do not print items that may be offensive to others. And they highlighted the words that she had on the back of the card. And I'm like, well, what were the words that you had on the back of the card? And she said it was basically, thank you for serving our country. You're a hero. You not be forgotten. That sort of thing. And and I'm like, well, there wasn't anything more controversial than that. And she said no. So she's, she told them, well, you obviously you won't get any more of my business. Anyway, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Zazzle, Zazzle. I can't imagine what she would have said. Well, she told me what she said, but that to me, I don't even know how you would misconstrue that as offensive. Who would think that's offensive? I don't know, but anyway. So the messaging there is she has some of those from before, but she's going to be ordering some new ones, but it won't be through Zazzle, and so she's won't have them for a while. But anyway, just what a crazy world. Well, there's my dad, Mac Marine. Speaking of patriotic Americans, hey, Dad. Lori and I are going to get down there. Lori and or I, we have to work out our schedule because we got our little granddaughter Carson and stuff. But I'm taking the last 2 weeks of the month off, and I'm hoping to spend some time down there just to totally disconnect from work and get down there and hang out with my mom and dad, my sister. All right. Well, let's see. What do we got? Oh, hat of the week. Man, I'm still on the hat of the week. I'll share this with you. Lori, of course, how does she not know we've been married for 37 years? But she knows I'm a hat person. She was up in Williamsburg with her girlfriends last week, I told you, and she brought me back a hat, of course. And that is why that is the hat of the week. Okay, well, let's see what we got here. How about this week in military history? Well, did you guys realize this? On December the 13th, 1636, this may be one of the oldest this week in military history items that we've done. December the 13th, 1636 was the birth of the National Guard. Did you know that? Look at my eyes, they're blue when I lean in there. Anyway, happy birthday if you were a National Guardsman. That's on the 13th, so just a couple of days away. So we had the National Guard before we had active duty Army. So yeah, that's why 1636. You can go online and read how they arrive at that date. But yeah, how about that? So if you're a guardsman like Hannah was and like Matt is now, happy birthday. That is a serious birthday there, 1636. How about that? Okay. Steve, sure. Oh, man. Steve, I tell you what, next time Ken, next time you and Steve get together, you might be a little bit of a scrap there. Oh, man. Yeah, he's got a little bit of age on you and I, Ken, but I love it. We can joke with each other, but nobody else better joke on us, right, Ken? All right. Yeah, it's a little known fact there, Matt. Yeah, yeah. So you take that to them next guard meeting. Let them know, Matt, how old you guys are. All right. Well, let's see. December the 8th of 1964. And I know this story to be true because I heard it from my friend Daryl. Because Daryl was there on December the 8th, 1964. A B-58 Hustler bomber crashed at Bunker Hill Air Force Base. And if you want to know the whole story from Daryl's perspective, go to Daryl, was it on the Speaking of Zane Facebook page, or was that on your page? Anyway, we can link it on the Speaking of Zane, but just a fascinating story, a firsthand account of what Daryl saw, what Daryl witnessed when a strategic nuclear bomber with nuclear weapons on board crashed just hundreds of yards away from Daryl's shop there on the base. So, wow, what an incredible story, Daryl. And thank God for all those safeguards and stuff, right, Steve Shirley? All the built-in safeguards to make sure a nuclear device does not detonate, even if it's in an accident. Okay, well, let's see. A couple of other items coming up this week, and this is why this time of year, man, this time of year for us in this household is a difficult one. We're in this window, this time of the year where Thanksgiving starts, and of course, you miss your family members that aren't with you anymore. So we start to really missing Zane, for Thanksgiving, and then as we get into December, we get into the dates that he deployed, and then the dates that he returned. And then as we move through the year, we move through the month, we get to Christmas. And then just a few days later, we get to his birthday. And then when we get into January, toward the end of the month, we get, to the day that we lost him. But that's why that window is a difficult window to navigate for us between, Thanksgiving and the end of January. It's just so much emotion, you can imagine. But Zane, on December the 14th, so just a few days from now, this coming week, and I'll post something on Facebook probably about it. But December the 14th of 2009 is when him and his unit deployed. I'll never forget it. Every one of us, me, Lori, and all the other kids, Tyler, Hannah, Charlotte, Jackson, we went out to Fort Stewart to his unit, and where they were loading up all the bags and weapons and everything. And we got to hang out with them for the last couple of hours. And then they loaded the buses and went from Fort Stewart up to Hunter Army Airfield, where they were to depart on these charter flights. And now I was doing work. I was fortunate. Our church, we had aligned with the Red Cross Service to Armed Forces. So I was regularly going out to Hunter to see troops off and welcome troops back, and as part of our ministry there. And so I made sure that I could be there when Zane left. And so I went with Lori and the kids to Fort Stewart, and we got to spend time with him and his colleagues there, Sergeant Mason and Sergeant Loest and Johnny Evil and just all of those guys. And that's when we first met a lot of them. And then one of the, let me share it here, but one of the, if I can get it to go full screen here. This is one of my all-time saddest photos. It's my second all-time. There's a first all-time, but this is my second all-time. Let me share screen here. This is the day we had spent, except a couple of hours easy. And then the time finally came for them to get on the buses at Fort Stewart and drive the 30 miles or so up to Savannah to Hunter. Give me just a minute because my screen has stalled on me here. That has been happening whenever I go to share for some reason. Okay, here we go. Restart my computer if I need to, I think. All right, here we go. There we go. There it is. That's the very last hug before they got on the buses there. You see, he was a young FC hugging his mom there. That was the very last he walked away. In fact, if I don't know if it'll let me share, there he is right there with just to the right. You can see Jackson's face there. Jackson now is the Air Force veteran. He's the one who's married with a little girl who's becoming a pilot. This is so many years ago now. But there's Zane, getting ready to walk away. There's Sergeant Mason, who is now what is he, Matt? He's at least an E8 now, isn't he? There's Erdley. This is right outside their unit there, all the families. There's Zane and Hannah, Jackson, Tyler, Charlotte. Of course, Jackson was just the idolized Zane. There we go. There's Shane Erdley. Lori crying, of course. Hannah and Charlotte. Remember this, Matt? $369. I got a lot of pictures that day. You can see everybody's kind of hanging around with their family until the big trucks got there to take all the gear. But yeah, it was you guys that have gone away or you've had family members go, what it's like when they're leaving and to go. And yeah, it was just an incredible thing. Knew something new for us. We'd never, Zane was only 17 or 18 at the time. But anyway, just an incredible period of time there. And then I don't have all the pictures pulled up, but then, so that was December the 14th of 2009. And then December the 13th of the next year, 2010. So the anniversary will be this week as well. December the 13th is when he returned. And it was in the middle of the night. It was like between midnight and 6 a.m. and it was cold in Savannah. For Savannah, I mean, it was like 30s, which is very cold for Savannah, cold for anywhere, but for Savannah especially. And we were out on the parade ground at Fort Stewart. I met him at Hunter with my capacity with the Red Cross. I got to see him there, him and Max and some others. And then they got on the buses and drove 45, 50 minutes to Fort Stewart. But I ran down there, Lori and Abby and her parents and all the kids were waiting. And it was one of the fastest of those returning ceremonies that I had been a part of because it was so cold and it was in the middle of the night. It was like, 4 or 5 in the morning, Katie. It was dark, pitch dark, freezing, just incredible. Yeah, even the band that was playing and stuff felt like they were playing fast. It's like trying to get through you have to do certain punk and circumstance and everything. And anyway, it was an incredible experience. It's some of the most joyful feeling that you ever have is when your loved one returns home. And anyway, so we have those anniversaries, those 2 anniversaries this week of his departure and then his return. So that is this week in military history. Okay, let's move on to the Veterans Cemetery Challenge. we cemetery visits this week, and Daryl couldn't make it. Daryl hadn't been feeling too good this week, but Daryl couldn't make it. And then Jimbo, Jim Miller, who usually goes to Omaha National most weeks, couldn't make it this week, so we didn't have any visits. Now I was up in Rome, Georgia today, meeting with Lanny and Tim, and it's just about 30 miles, 30 miles east, and you go to Canton, where the cemetery is. And I thought about running over there, but it was getting close to dark, actually, and the cemetery is open to dusk, and then you can't get in. And I'm like, well, I'm going to drive all that way, and I can't get in. But so I didn't go. But of course, we'll be there on Saturday for Reach Across America. Okay, well, let's see. So so we're sitting at 722 visits. So that's going to be pretty cool to hit 1,000 visits, though, isn't it? But 722 visits, so not too shabby. And we'll crank that up a little bit next week with all the folks that are going to Reach Across America. And we did have some thank yous here, and let me get back up to the top here and see. Okay, Daryl was that 2 you had, Daryl? So Daryl had 2 thank yous this week. So let me just adjust my count here. Daryl said he was at the hospital on Thursday and chatted with an Army helicopter crewman and an Air Force vet. And how about that? I love that. I love reading all of you guys' accounts of your interactions. They're just phenomenal. So Daryl had a couple. Jim had one at the base. Ken had 4 firefighters. Ken was where were you at, Ken? I can't remember, but Ken had the occasion to thank 4 firefighters and paramedics, and they had saw his hat, right, and in turn thanked him for his service. How about that, Ken? That was fun. And then Matt, I heard Matt, you got to meet an 80-year-old 101st Airborne vet. How about that? So that's pretty cool. And then my dad also met a 101st Airborne vet, a Vietnam vet this week. And Dad also met another Army Vietnam vet and a Navy vet. So Dad got 3 of those thank yous in this week. So if I add all that up, we had 11 thank yous this week for, we're sitting at a total of 1,867. So it won't be too long that we are putting a 2 in front of those 3 zeros there. So we'll have to change the 1,000 thank you placard to 2,000. We're not too far away. How about that? Get the face lined up here again. All right, there we go. All right, so keep up the good work, folks. I'm sure I'll get some more thank yous in this week out at the cemetery on Saturday. And let's see what else we got here. Really nothing, no really real updates in the organizations section, just the wreaths. Everybody knows about that. It's about it at the moment on the organizations section. Now, I wanted to bring your attention to just an incredible post that Ken made. Ken, did you make this? If you didn't, would you mind sharing it on the Speaking of Zane Facebook group? But Ken has a fellow ROTC cadet that he served with. I think his name is Zeke, isn't it, Ken? And he had just an incredible little post that he made about overcoming the desire that he had to commit suicide. And I don't think in that clip he tells the whole backstory, but he tells enough for you to know that you can make a difference in people's lives. But Jason, okay, went by Zeke, okay, but yeah, just an incredible thing there, and very bold of him to share that, right, Ken? For sure, but just a really good message there, for sure, especially when we're in this mode where we like to think that we can be doing something positive to combat the 22 a day, right? And we talk about how just the littlest thing might make the difference in somebody's life. And anyway, just a powerful sort of testimony there from Ken's friend there, if you haven't seen that. Okay, well, that is it for this week for Speaking of Zane. Looking forward to next week, where we can compare some notes on the Reach Across America, and we'll certainly share our account of that. Maybe even take a little video, some video clip footage out there. I'm anxious to see who all. I've got a lot of people that I know that are planning to come out there with us from work, so that'll be fun. But all right, gang. Well, have a good week. Good to see everybody in here tonight, and hope to see you right back here again on Sunday night for Speaking of Zane. And if you see a veteran at Lowe's or Wally World or the Home Depot, stop by and talk to them. You don't have to tell them thank you if that's not what you want to do. You can just say, "Hey, I serve too. Where'd you serve?" And anyway, kind of fun, but it's certainly worth pausing to do that along the way. But we'll look forward to seeing everybody again next Sunday night for Speaking of Zane. How about that? It'll be December the 18th. Take care, everybody.